Alright, multimedia freshman. This is me, Mr. Cheney, with another brilliant tutorial. This is going to be Intro to PowerPoint Part 2. So Part 1 was slides 1, 2, 3. And now we're about to do slides 4, 5, 6. That's going to cover the menus of design, transitions, and animations. So just as a really quick summary, on slide 1 we worked with the home ribbon and did some things with shapes and text and that sort of thing. Slide 2 it was the insert menu, so we inserted a lot of different things just to kind of demonstrate what could be done on that menu. And then the draw one was pretty simple. We just used the pen and pencil and highlighter tool to just kind of draw or scribble in my case, since I'm not a very good artist. So now for slide 4, what I did, and I'll have you do the same thing, is you're going to copy and paste a few of the objects from slide 2 over to slide 4. So you could do them all if you'd like. Do this and just highlight the ones. I could do Control C and then Control V, and so that's how I got this. So in slide 4, we're going to do a design thing. So on my design menu, you can see that there's a bunch of themes, and if you click this arrow right here, it'll open it up so you can see most of the default themes. You can browse for more right there. You can save a current theme, so you can actually make changes to a theme, like different shapes and colors if you'd like, and then save it as your own. In this case, all I want you to do for slide 4 right now is actually find one of these themes and change just that slide. Okay, so I'm going to go with this one, the slate one. I'm going to right click my mouse, and instead of applying it to all the slides, I want to apply it to just this slide, slide number 4. And so that way, slides 1, 2, and 3 are still with a white background, and slide 4 has our new design background. Now we can go over here to the variant and see if we like one of those variants more. So that'll change some of the objects, like the smart art and things. So the default is this, so maybe I like the green better, so I could do that. And I can get deeper into those and change the colors here. You can change some of the font stuff if you'd like. You can change some of the effects as far as shadow and grunge and frosted, that sort of thing. And then this is some advanced stuff that we don't really need to get into for this intro to PowerPoint. Slide size. Since most screens these days are widescreen 16:9, we kind of want to stay with that. If for some reason we were on some older technology or an old computer monitor, we might go with standard 4:3 ratio, but we're going to mostly just stay with this. And then formatting a background. So instead of using one of their designs, what you could do is use these tools to do the background format. So what I'll do is just show you what that could be. So solid fill, you could actually just go with a solid color, so that's like black or green or blue, so that's just kind of a simple black background fix you could do. You could do a gradient fill, so that's where you actually mix different colors together. So, and these are the stops, and if I wanted to make a different color for each of these stops, so stop number 2 I could change to gray, stop number 3 I could change to blue, stop number 4 I could change to something like red, and you can change these dials so that the colors are in different ratios. So that'll give you like a multicolor slide. So that's gradient. Picture or texture fill. These are some of the textures that are within the program, or you can just fill it with a picture of your own from your clipboard, which is the copy paste, or you can insert it. And then you have some patterns you could do. So if you just wanted to get simple with one of these patterns, that's fine. You could change the color of the pattern here. So instead of blue, maybe I'll go green. And you have a foreground and background color. So that's if you didn't use a theme. But in this case for us, for slide 4, we're going to use one of these themes. And I'm going to go back to slate, and I'm going to right click and apply to my selected slide. So in order to get back to my template design, the slate design that I've chose before, what we're going to do is go over here and select the colors, and I'm going to go back to automatic, and that will take me back to this theme that I wanted. So I can close this menu out instead of doing the format background, and I'll have this slate menu that I already chose before. Okay, so that's slide 4. Not much change, but you're going to just use one of those designs. Now let's talk about transitions. So transitions are actually the movement between slides. So if we go to our transition menu, you can see the different transitions that are available. Get this out of the way. If I click this arrow right here, you can see most of the ones that are available. So if I were to click on one, it should give me a preview of what it looks like. And like I said, it's just a transition from one slide to the next. And the way that we know that there's a transition applied will be over on the slide sorter. So I'm going to go with something fancy like the curtain. That was kind of cool. So I'll know that I have a transition between the two because when I play my show, it'll show that. By the way, this is how you can resize your slides so you can see more of your big slide versus your slide sorter to the left. Okay, so I've selected the curtain slide for slide number 5, and I'm going to add a sound effect for that transition. Normally I don't do this, but I just want to make sure that we know what we can do. So maybe we'll go with a voltage sound, and for 6 seconds it's just going to be to that slide. It'll advance the slide on the mouse click right now, but if we were going to make this automatic, then we would unclick that and we could delay it by after a second or two so it would go on its own. And that's it. So if I were to go back up to slide 4 and show my slide like this and transition in between, I got my sound effect and I got my transition from slide 4 to slide 5, and that's how that works. Okay, so slide 4 we did the design, slide 5 we did the transition, and slide 6 we're going to talk about animations. So for animations, what we're going to do is we're going to actually put some shapes in here. Get this out of the way again so that we can do some animations on stuff. And click on animation so you can see everything we've got here. So you need an object or text in order to animate something. So a transition is movement between slides. Animation is a movement of an object or text. So we're going to go back over to our insert and we're going to go to shapes, and I'm just going to pick a couple shapes. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then maybe I'll pick a different shape. So we're going to have 4 shapes on slide number 6. And I'm going to put them on opposite sides of the slide. And so here's how this works. I'm going to go over to my animation section. And when I click on this, the green ones are actually the entrance animations. So green ones are entrance animations. Emphasis is this section right here. Exit is red. And then you can do some motion paths with things. And if you wanted to see more entrance effects, here's like the full menu of entrance effects. So they have different categories: basic, subtle, moderate, and exciting. So let's say I wanted to do a boomerang on this one. That's what that would look like. Maybe I didn't like that. Maybe I want to see what float up was, or I could see what zoom is. So I'm going to create an entrance for that, and I'm going to create a different entrance for the circle. So I'll do that. Maybe I'll do the wheel for the circle. And let's try. So on this, you can do effect options. So some of them, there are different things you can do. So you could do it from object center or slide center. So that's the difference between those two. either being in place or doing it from the slide center. On the circle one with the wheel, our effect options are different spokes. So you could do 2 spokes all the way up to 8 spokes, so that's up to you. So on that effect, so every animation is going to have its own effect options. If you wanted to add a second animation to something, you could do it here. So let's say I want an entrance and an exit. So I'm going to add a second animation to this square here by clicking here, and then I can maybe add an emphasis one like teeter. So now if I were to play both of these, what I can do to see both of those, I can go to animation pane and I can see that the rectangle has 2, and if I wanted those to go right one after the other, I could do that. So I can play my animations by doing this. So I have my entrance, it teeters, and then I have my circle with the spokes. And let's see, so that's animation pane where you can do a bunch of things, which I'll show you a bunch of that later once we get into animations. Trigger could be on the click, or you could change it to be triggered by something else. We won't go too much into that right now. You can start it on a click, you could start it with previous or after previous. So let's say I wanted this oval to actually be after or at the same time as the other one. And so if I did that, I could play that and it'll happen at the same time instead of waiting for the square to do it on its own. Reordering animation, you can move earlier or later instead of so I already showed you how you can drag them, but this is another way that you can reorder them. And then the last thing I want to show you is using exit effects and motion paths. So exit effect is if I wanted this to disappear instead of enter. So let's say I wanted this to bounce out, it's going to exit the screen instead of enter the screen, and that's going to be the last thing that happens right there. And then let's say I want this, I'm going to do a motion path for this, and let's say I just wanted to do maybe one of these pre-screened ones, which would be interesting. Okay, they have these, or what I like to do is do a custom one. So I can go here and go to custom path, and that way I can draw where I want it to go. So I'm going to have it go in between and then end up in the center like this. Press enter and you will have your custom motion path, and it'll show right there. And again, if I wanted this to happen at the same time, I can, instead of on click, go to with previous, and it'll happen. So I'll play from the top, and I will see all my animations from the screen right there happen as I rehearsed it. So, in summary, slide number 4, we did design, and we chose one of these themes. So I went here, I right-clicked, and I applied to just that slide. Slide number 5, we applied a transition. So a transition is movement between slides. We did the curtain, which is highlighted right there. We added a sound, a voltage, and it happens for 6 seconds, so that's kind of a slow one. And then slide number 6, we did animations. So animations, we have 4 shapes, and we used entrance animations, we used an emphasis, we used an exit, and we used a motion path, and kind of played around with doing on-click with previous and adding a second animation to the one square. And that's it. So that's going to be part 2 of our PowerPoint, Intro to PowerPoint lessons. So part 3 coming up. I'll see you back in class.